I only see him on special occasions. Barry Rivers is in the studio, and
You
that's
went to
a
my
big
bar mitzvah.
deal.
What are you talking about?
Where was your bar mitzvah, Barry?
New York.
New York? We're at upstate?
No, out on the island.
Out in the island?
Yeah, and we had a toes in the sand bar mitzvah. It was fantastic.
Did you do tents and things?
No, we just umbrellas. It was wonderful.
That's cool.
I'm totally BSing you, Cindy.
Oh, and I believe everything that I'm told. You know that, Barry.
We served bologna sandwiches with cheese. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I grew up in Beverly Hills, and I'm used to them having like the top bands and gold coins with the people's pictures on it, and it was a whole big deal, the bar mitzvahs. But I am happy to have you here, and a special treat. Stella came, and she's sitting here just catching up on her many faces. Are you on Facebook?
No, I'm on the site. I'm on the Maui Film Festival site.
Let's bring that over there so we can hear you, dear. You're on the Maui Film Festival site. Yay. Good for you. Well, it is that time of year, and I would love to say you're just here to say hi, but there's bigger things brewing, and that is the Maui Film Festival is just a few weeks away. I can't believe we're already going to be this Friday at June 1st, and it's coming up June 13th through the 17th. And I really am glad you came in because there's some great opportunities right now for people to get on board and save some money if they get on it.
Yep.
And they can get the Rising Star Pass for 4 at the MAC, and that's only $48 until Thursday.
Is it June 3rd? I think we were switching over on June 1st. I think there was a...
Yeah, I think through the 31st. I had it through the 31st.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then if you want to go to the Celestial Cinema and get that pass, that's $88. But you got to get on that by going to MauiFilmFestival.com because that saves you money.
Saves you money.
It absolutely saves you money.
Everyone likes to save money, don't we?
Well, yeah, and you know what? Everyone loves the film festival. And, you know, sometimes I see you, and I know maybe more than some others. I mean, Stella knows. And there's a handful of people. There's a handful of people that know how much work goes into this. But most people who go to the film festival do not have a clue what it takes to put on a film festival like this.
Have you seen The Wizard of Oz?
Yes, I have many times. Many times. Are you the man behind the curtain?
Does the hair look familiar?
It kind of is an interesting look. Did you do that style, Stella? It's kind of interesting.
I quaff myself, Cindy. You want to see how I do it? There you go.
You quaffed you. Now you're going to make me take a picture.
No.
I have never seen hair
I did
quite
shave
like
for you, however, the first time in about 5 or 6 days.
You shaved for me?
Yeah, when I go into the final cave, you and our new granddaughter, actually, who we're going to see at the pool.
How old is your new granddaughter?
2 weeks plus a couple of days.
Oh, my God. What's her name?
Her name is Mahina Rain Rivers.
Oh, how beautiful, Mahina. What does Mahina mean?
Moon. Oh, sorry.
It means moon.
Moon. Oh, that's great. Well, we're at a full moon tonight, you know. Tonight's a full moon.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a powerful one. It's the Festival
Gemini.
of Goodwill. Yeah.
This baby knew her name. She busted out a few weeks early on the full moon.
Did
April
she?
29th. She was born on the 30th.
Oh, wow. How fun. How great. Well, this is really exciting. Your family keeps expanding and growing and growing and growing. More people to work in the office.
I hope. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. At least not someone I loved or who was family.
How many people are there now?
Well, now it's a 3-person box office staff, which will probably grow to about 20 over the next couple of days, really. Mm-hmm. Actually, we're starting to do kiosk sales both at Whole Foods on June 1st and also at the shops at Wailea.
Oh, that's good.
So just so people know about that. But yeah, June 1st is when they sort of come on board because they need people to staff those kiosks, and they're sort of like co-managers or assistant managers of the box office. So that's that. And then there are probably I think we write about 75 paychecks, something like that. So there are a lot of people.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, and so there are a lot of people that work at the Celestial Cinema.
I thought those were all supposed to be volunteers.
No, we have a lot of we have 200 plus volunteers. In fact, if anyone out there is interested in volunteering for the festival, now's the time to do it. Just go to MauiFilmFestival.com and click on the link that says volunteers, and all the information you need is there. Let me just say, I know we've been getting a lot of phone calls about a couple of things. One, we did this beautiful website.
Gorgeous.
But it's taking a little bit longer than we'd like for these big images that are on there that sort of take your breath away. They're sort of like You Are There images almost.
Yes.
They're beautiful. But it did slow down the downloading. So we just today switched out all that sort of merry-go-round of photos for just the Celestial Cinema money shot, the orange sunset shot.
Yes.
And from there you can go to where you need to go. And it's not yet, although it will be tomorrow, up with its complete schedule. So there'll be a link when you go there. You just go to the homepage at MauiFilmFestival.com, click on the link, which is the link just to the right of the home link, and it'll say schedule. And when you click on that, you can look at every schedule by day. So you'll see what's happening on Wednesday and Thursday. So it's very user-friendly. There are trailers for all the films there. There are posters for all the films there. There are synopses for all the films there. And we have a new database, which is extremely much simpler to use than the old one. So I think people are going to dig sort of going there and just sort of finding their way around it this year.
Well, first of all, we have to say how important seeing these trailers are. I mean, number one, if people knew how much money were put into making these trailers, you'd realize how important they are. They know. The film companies know how important these trailers are. Yeah. And you really can get a sense from the trailer what you want to see and what you don't want to see. You certainly get a very good idea.
Yeah, it's a very eclectic festival, too. There are PG-rated films. There's some PG-13 rated films. I mean, I'll go through it chronologically like we often do, but it's really a festival where there's something for everyone, and more likely even a couple of three-somethings for everyone, even kids. There are things. There's a film called Zoo, which is a great Father's Day film at the Castle Theater about, well, I'll just get to it when we get to that stuff.
Okay.
And just hip-hop
Now, the world has been changing a lot.
Kidding.
The world and changes. The world's been changing a lot, and there's been a lot of interesting things, and I think that finally the morals and what people feel are important are coming more in line with what you followed as far as your values and what you said is important for the standards for your film festival. We've certainly seen people we never thought we'd see come down this last few years or two.
Not enough, not yet.
Yeah, it's still evolving for sure. But I know you also have had the other element, which is very important, is the fact that the way you see films and the way it's downloaded, the way it's shot, the way it's projected, etc., also has changed drastically over the last few years.
Well, the mainstream stuff certainly has gone a lot more into what they call popcorn movies or tentpole movies, but they're movies that they can make for $150 million or $20 million and make $500 million on or more.
Yeah,
and that's their stock and trade. They don't do nearly as many other kinds of films as they used to. At least the biggest of the big studios.
Yeah,
thankfully, a lot of mini major divisions of studios and independent studios, and just independent filmmakers, have taken advantage of the opportunity presented by people's thirst for other content other than the same movie by a different name every Friday at the mall.
Thank you for that, because it is true. It's the independents. They've almost left their conscience and the films that mean something to the independents, because they are exactly what you call I love the term you use, the popcorn films.
Yeah, they call them popcorn films or tentpole films.
Yeah. I hadn't heard tentpole. I've heard popcorn, but I haven't heard what's the
tentpole. They mean a tentpole?
I haven't heard
like
that.
A big circus coming to town. They just try and put as many people into the tent as they can.
Okay,
And the pole or the content is what holds the tent up and lets more people than not come in. But it tends to be a certain kind of film, and there's similarities between them, and they make a lot of money, and it does help them do the stuff that's more of interest to me than that.
Right.
So it all sort of figures itself out.
Yeah.
What we've done this year, for years I've talked about compassionate vision and life affirming storytelling being the sort of DNA that's driven the festival from the first day we did this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've used sort of internally we've been using different words, and among them have been this passionately created, intelligently designed, endlessly. Let me try it one more time. Here's my Saturday, up at 1:30 at Zippy's. I went to bed at 10 o'clock at night.
I've
still not recovered from that night.
Oh, my God, I can understand.
It was the first time I was there, since many, many, many years ago, but that's how I need it. Anyway, no, but it's passionately created, intelligently designed, endlessly inspiring. Those are
that.
And we have that right on the homepage now, right below the name of the festival and the dates of the festival and the social media, icons. It's right there. I just wanted to really make it clear to people, you've just come to a different kind of film festival.
Yeah.
There are no ads on the site. We're not trying to BS you and link you and track your cookies and all this crap.
Mm-hmm.
We're just there to present the best films that we can find any given year, and it has been really, really a challenging year. I mean, Netflix and in particular really acquires a lot of films that otherwise would have fallen through the cracks at Sundance, and were well made. But they now they're paying enough for people to make a movie and actually make a profit if they can get lucky enough to sell it to them. Not everyone does, but it takes a lot of movies it takes a lot of oxygen out of the air for festivals that sort of lived in that place where we weren't looking or we couldn't get the biggest films that were hits at Sundance, but we could get these other things that weren't being acquired, and we often, that was sort of the meaningful thread in our tapestry, right? Those sort of films that you would not otherwise know about. So
you would go to the major film festival and they get some, but the leftovers would go to the smaller film festival or the people that knew connections, but now they're going to Netflix instead. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, exactly. And and they know what they're doing. I mean, they've got very eclectic taste. They really do find something for everybody.
We're going to find out what is at the bottom of Stella Rivers' purse.
That is a riddle you will never solve. If I had $1 for every time, not just that purse, but the 69 purses previously that she used has been dumped on the floor unceremoniously to find whatever the hell she was looking for.
What were you looking for, Stella?
A pen.
Oh, wait a second. I think I can help you. Maybe here, if I can turn my head around. We'll get you a pen somehow.
Your secret is
here
out.
We go. A pen. A kingdom for a pen. Yes, there you go. We'll go to Richard. Okay. All right. So the world is changing. The film festival is changing. You still have a lot of interesting tools, which is insight and knowing what's good before a lot of other people do. Some of the people you've honored, yes, you do. Some of the films you've done and picked have become massive, huge hits after you've already picked them.
And if I wasn't 70, I could remember their names, but just don't ask me what they are.
But then there's also the fact that you have gotten some wonderful honorees and people who've received awards who
again
now
this year
are just amazingly famous, and you had the right picks on that. I'm kind of curious how you do your homework, how you go through these films, how you go about picking the people. Do you collaborate? How do you actually pull that all together?
Well, there's a fellow in L.A. He's one of the co-directors of the festival. His name is Ben Goodman. His mom, coincidentally, is one of the other co-directors. Stella's yet a third. But Ben and I just sort of bang it around. He has ideas, I have ideas, and we arm wrestle and figure out what works, and we try and find those things that we both agree on. And we've done a pretty good job of that over the years. And I think we hit it out of the park again this year. Actually, we have one that we've announced, so that's the only person I can talk about. And I will later. I will now. Her name is Amber Heard. And she's had a really interesting career. She just important and meaningful films. She's done some sort of big sort of films as well, these sort of summer tentpole films like I talked about earlier. She's appearing opposite Jason Momoa, who people may know. He was one of the activists dealing with all the Hawaiian people's concerns about the telescopes and the mana, how it sort of rippled through the mana of the eye of Haleakala. Anyway, so she's starring as the wife of Aquaman. He's doing Aquaman. It's a big film releasing in December.
Yeah.
So a lot of people who don't know her will know her when that happened. She was married to Johnny Depp for a while.
That must be an interesting story.
Well, it's a story that resulted in a couple of $1 million being donated to a sort of violence against women organization. So,
yay!
Not that was a price that should have
been
paid
but
for
yay,
it.
There was a couple $1 million.
But she's that person. Yes. She's that kind of person. Which we look for people that are not just good looking, but talented and progressive and get it.
Yeah.
Hashtag wake the hell up kind of thing.
You do. Yeah.
So so we have her. Her name is Amber Heard, and she's a stunner. To boot, and she was just named L'Oreal's global spokesperson.
Oh, nice.
But more importantly, she's really doing some interesting work, and that's what we're honoring her for.
Which award is she getting?
She's getting the Shining Star.
Right.
It's an award
it's got a long, nice
we've
history.
done so many. I think maybe Lupita got that one, and Andrew Garfield, I think, got it, and Olivia Wilde got a whole bunch of people have gotten it over the years.
Olivia Wilde, that was like 4 or 5 years ago with Olivia, and now look at how
2011, actually. Was just looking at this list last night, yeah.
Wow, amazing. So this continues, the tradition continues in spite of all the difficult times and the hard work, and us all saying, you know what, we're too old to be working this hard.
Amen.
It's like, what are we doing this for? But here we are.
We were lucky enough to be born in the 60s. Unfortunately, we've been unlucky enough to live to the 2000 teens because this has been one hell of a ride the last year and a half or so.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But we will transcend this, I'm sure.
And so let's go down now. What's going on? Of course, there's always the element of the Celestial Cinema and the MAC, and there are people who, and I'm not going to let you dump on them, who love going to the MAC, who don't
I'm not
like
gonna
going.
jump in them.
Sometimes you
I
get mad
program
at
for
people
them.
for not going to Celestial Cinema. I've heard you get very angry at people for
Well,
not going to
we
Celestial
definitely
Cinema.
do need them to see it and turn their friends on it. Yeah, that's for sure.
You do. He goes.
I get disappointed in them.
Okay, there you go.
It manifests as anger, but it's disappointment.
But I understand if you can drive 5 minutes or 10 minutes to the MAC rather than drive all the way out there when you're getting older and it's a car and you're driving, and then sometimes you'll go to the MAC.
Well,
so
it's really a challenge to program it. And when it's as strong as it is some years, and this is one of those years, it's just nice when people get to see this stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, this festival has always been more about being a cinema activist than it has been about making money.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, if I wanted to make money, I would have done what 10 friends told me to do 30 years ago. You should move to Maui's nice, bro, but just move to LA and you could be running a studio kind of a thing, but it just wasn't what I wanted to do with my life.
Well, and the other thing is I said, gosh, Barry, you could just put on the events and not have to do so many films. People seem to be, you seem to be selling out the Taste of Wailea and selling out some of these other events. It seems like people want to party more than go to the movies.
It's Maui, baby.
So,
like a Taste This festival.
I mean, I know, and I won't mention any names. I'm sworn to secrecy, and I've endured a week of torture, so I swear I won't give it up. But there's some people that go to the Taste of Wailea and don't go to the films.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's like, but there are the people that like that.
They just lie on their backs looking at the stars for about an hour so they can get in their cars and drive home. No, not really. Actually, we're really very on top of the...
you got to pull that mic a
We're
little
very
closer
on
to
top
it.
of being
Yeah,
sensitive to how people imbibe up there. We don't want any problems.
So we have the MAC and really great films at the MAC, and we have the...
What's the MAC again? I'm sorry, where is that?
The MAC is
I'm just
my backyard.
I'm just kidding.
The MAC and the Celestial Cinema. So which do you want to go down first?
Probably Celestial Cinema.
Okay.
Okay, so why don't we do
Because
that?
there's so much money invested in that. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, no, people, there's a lot of money
There's a
invested
lot
in
of
it. Yeah,
money.
we
Okay.
need people to come. It's just how
Yes,
it is. If
it
they
is.
love it, then they just need to show up, and then we're fine. I'm not concerned. I mean, I think we're going to have a good year this year.
Yeah.
We really have a very eclectic program, and it was hard to pull together, but thankfully it has. So,
Yay.
okay, so I'm going to try and do this. My one computer just died, and I've been having problems with it, and the other one is really small. These Mac Airs are adorable, but they're
Oh,
not.
the little guy,
They're not really a computer.
Yeah,
but
the
I
one
pretty
who-
much know the schedule. So
Okay.
there are two films, I should say, two films at Celestial Cinema every night. Because this year's films are a little bit shorter, they're 94, 96 minutes. They're, maybe 99 minutes, 102.
No 2-hour, 3-hour movie.
No, the only
No.
film that's 2 hours long, actually, of all of them, is the first film on Thursday night. But the point being that because the films are so much shorter, I've been able to program some shorts up there, which I haven't been able to do for a number of years
Yeah.
because of all the tributes taking time and all this stuff. So it'll be a little bit more like a real film festival this year, at least at that venue. We've done it at the Castle Theater at the MAC, but we've done fewer shorts up top. So that said, the first film that will show on opening night, it's called Find Your Voice. It's the story, it actually stars Keisha Castle Hughes, who anyone who was at the Celestial Cinema the night we showed Whale Rider and that full moon rose
Yep.
over the back of the screen will never forget it. Castle, So she's in a film called Find Your Voice. It's about a Maori rapper who's born in New Zealand, is living in Australia trying to make a living. It's a bigger country, there's more wealth there, and he's trying to make it happen. He's having a rough time. He wins the lottery, literally, and decides to go back to New Zealand to reconnect with his ohana, his Maori ohana, and try and make his life what he wants it to be, which is sort of sharing
Nice.
his vision with people. So they meet. She's actually a successful singer. Is there a little romance? Yeah. Is there lots of music in the film? Yep. So it's kind of a really fun film. And while it's not a Hawaii-made film like Kuleana was last night,
There's a
there's
brotherhood.
I think there's a lot of people here who are interested in that, just in general, this part of the world, the Pacific, writ large. So that's the first film.
And good on her for taking the time to do one to support.
She wanted to come so bad. She wanted to come, and she kept trying to change her schedule. She's shooting a film in Australia right now.
Oh, okay.
And she just couldn't shake loose. So, but her co-star will be here, a guy named Adam Sanders, who's a big star in Australia, new to people here, but very good in the movie.
Great.
So that's the first film at 8 o'clock. And then the second film that night is called Stay Human. And it's a documentary that Michael Fronte put together. Huh. Michael Fronte, who people know from concerts at the MAC and just know his music in general. He's been at it a very long time.
Yeah.
He was actually at the festival in 2004, I think. He went to Iraq and just did a film about what was really going on there.
Really?
Yeah, we showed it at the what was then called the Sky Dome, the Maui Sky Dome, down there at what was the Marriott at the time. So anyway, so he's a wonderful guy. He is an inspiring guy. This movie will get you off. John Woodhouse, I gave a peek at it because he's interviewing him tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And I don't have access to it next to computers, weird, but he just wrote the nice little thing like, wow, it's fantastic, it's a perfect film for the festival. And it is. He's really an inspiring person to watch go through life. And he went around the world. Well, he goes around the world all the time doing his concerts, and he found, I think it's 4 or 5 people in different parts of the world that were doing incredibly amazing work turning around people's lives or turning around their own lives. And he made sort of these vignettes about, like I said, I think it's 5 people in the film.
So, I have to say, you do watch Stephen Colbert. That's a band, Jean Baptiste and Stay Human.
Yeah, there's a lot of Stay Humans. There's another one, I know, that's true. And there's another one that's, the Palestinians use that phrase, Stay Human.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And, I said after I realized that without thinking about it at the time in a conscious way, we spend a lot of time doing this sort of Rubik's Cube about what goes where, and if you move this, and is that going to be opposite something at the Mac that the same crowd might want, and you're trying to sort of balance it all out and not take a bite out of yourself kind of thing. So that after lots of back and forth and up and down, Michael Franti's film was probably in about 5 different places, and that was going to be the perfect place. And then at the end of the day, I just chose to put it after this Find Your Voice. When I looked at the 2 films together, the posters side by side, it was like, Find Your Voice, Stay Human. That is as much as any other phrase what this festival has always been about, and has the intention again this year to be about.
And sometimes people get lucky if it does real well, and you have a space. You will sometimes show a film that's showing at Celestial Cinema. You can catch at the Mac.
That's not happening this year, but we have done it. Yeah, on rare occasions we've done that. So anyway, that's opening night.
Okay.
And then on Thursday night, which is the second night, we again have 2 films. It's sort of our traditional nights for surf films are Thursday and Sunday.
Yeah.
So we have a film called Andy Irons, Kissed by God. Andy Irons was an incredibly talented surfer. Do you know who he is at all?
I know the name. Yeah.
Just like really one of the best ever, kind of like Kelly Slater quality. Like he would beat Kelly Slater after the World Championship a few times. But he's at that level. Rob Machado, Kelly Slater, Shane Dorian, a bunch of these guys have known each other for 100 years and grew up together. But he had a rough ride because he was sort of an angry kid. His parents had broken up when he was young, and it's sort of the footage they have. They have footage of this kid and his brother, who was also a pro surfer and incredible in the water, going back to when they were maybe 6 or 7. People saw it even then that this kid was something special. So it's like a 20-plus year documentary about him in particular, but also the people that sort of were in his ohana. And it brought us to tears. Both of us watched the film.
It's Maui? Maui?
No, he's born in Kauai, traveled all over the world. He had he got into drugs at one point in his life, opioids. So it's a really important cautionary tale, which is one of the reasons we chose to show it. Because talking to friends of mine who are beach beach people, I guess there's another wave now of sort of drug stuff going on at Ho'okipa. It sort of comes and it goes. But there's a weirdness down there again. And we really wanted to be part of that solution and just sort of show this cautionary tale about this guy's life.
Well, people should know that you have twin boys.
Yeah.
And they're very into the surf scene.
Yeah.
And they go out surfing a lot.
Anywhere, anytime.
Yeah. So they're very
until
tuned.
Dark and beyond.
They're very into that. So, and I'm sure that they have a voice or some vote as well, right? To what.
Yeah. Well, they definitely dug the idea that their dad was going to be in this movie. This is a really hard movie to get. I worked 3 months to get this film.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just actually got it at 1:15 or 1:30 in the morning at Zippy's the other night. Which does not mean I'm going to go there more often. However, I was happy to have it happen somewhere. Anywhere, it didn't really matter at that point because I was really coming down.
Not a lot of vegetarian selections at Zippy's.
There are veggie omelets, I will say, even egg white veggie omelets.
And there was a veggie burger I had. Okay.
So anyway, so that's the first film. It's a really wonderful film, really touching.
Yeah.
He has a family. He turns his life around. He falls off it again, does it again. So it's just his life story. People can see the trailer. They can see it now if they just go to YouTube, but they'll be able to see it.
And it's called again.
It's called
Stay Human. No.
It's called Andy Irons.
Andy Irons.
Yeah.
Okay. Andy Irons.
I just had a thought. I'll share with you when the show's over. And then the second film that night is called. Let me get this right. Vogue à la May, I think is the French pronunciation. Vogue à la May, and it translates lots of different ways. But it's basically, I think it's not green wave, it's green immersion or something is the English language translation. Shane Dorian stars in the film. He's a well-known Maui surfer, rides anything at whatever height. I think he's won one or two contests for the biggest wave ridden in a particular year, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So Shane is one of the stars of the film. There's another guy named, I think it's Benjamin Shantiz is the other guy in the film. And they surf all over a lot of it is at Peahi, but they surf the break in Portugal that people go to, you know, because it's got one of the biggest waves in the world. It just, again, is a film about the brotherhood of people that take this incredible risk just to have this incredible feeling of being alive. That is the main thing most people will talk to you about if you, if you are talking to them about why they do what they do.
So it sounds beautiful as well as
Yeah.
kind of having good surfing. It's
Yeah.
all around the world.
Yeah.
Surf-a-log, travel-log, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's Thursday surf night.
Mm-hmm.
And then Wednesday is, there are two films. One is called Ideal Home. It's
Well, no, when you did Wednesday.
isn't Wednesday after Thursday?
You did Wednesday and Thursday. I'm out of it. I have an excuse.
Well, then we make
You're
one
only
cute
cute.
couple today, let me tell you.
No, it's three couple. It's like
Oh, it's a
three with
three-way.
Wednesday.
It's the first
It's a
three-way on
three-way.
Cindy's Talk Story Show in like 25 years.
And so it's Friday we're talking about now, which is always a big night.
Yes, that's what you're talking about and what I now realize I have to talk about. That's
Yes.
right, yeah.
Pull up
Yeah.
the schedule.
So it's Ideal Home, which is a film starring Paul Rudd and Steve Coogan. A lot of people know Paul Rudd and love
I
him.
do.
And Steve Coogan's been in this Trip to Italy film. He was in
Oh,
the Trip
I
to
just
Spain
was
film.
watching those. I
Right.
did see both of
Yeah,
them.
he got an Academy Award nomination for Philomena a couple of years ago.
Oh, did
He's a
he?
really talented actor.
Okay.
He's mostly a comedic actor,
Uh-huh.
but he's really talented.
Yeah.
So they star as a gay couple.
Uh-huh.
He's the chef, and his partner sort of is involved in production and stuff. But they have a beautiful home, and he's a well-known chef around the country. He has a TV show and stuff. And one night after they're hosting this, during a big dinner party between all these wonderful, well-known chefs that he's hosting at his place, it takes place in it's in New Mexico, Santa Fe area, right? So all of a sudden, this kid shows up at the party, and he's like, "Who are you?" And the human services person says, "This is your grandson. Your son's been thrown in jail.
Oh, my God.
He wanted us to give him to you to look after until he gets out." So these guys know about as much about kids and have as much. They have nothing they want to do with kids.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it's a bit of a rocky start with the kid, but they eventually fall in love with him and realize that this is a really wonderful experience to be a parent and have a child, and try and steer it in the right direction. And they become these fantastic parents. And I just love the fact that the film was. Probably an eye-opener for some people, but it's really just sort of shows that people who care about each other and about building a family that matters to the people in it is what this film's about, really.
Yeah.
So it's beautifully done. It's got a really funny poster. Not that you get the trailer is very funny. It's a little raunchy, so be forewarned.
Okay.
This film is not for kids.
So you got his career. Now, immediately, I want to go look at this, the poster,
Yeah,
right?
it's called.
Isn't it?
The poster's great. I could show it to you. But anyway, so that's the first film on that night, and then the second film is a film from England that just won it got won three things, I think, or two: Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Director, Best Music, and I think it won the Best Actor and the Best Picture, maybe the Best Director too. It's called Happy Birthday, Toby Simpson. And it's about a suit, quote-unquote suit, who's just having a really rough day at work. His girlfriend's just giving him all kinds of crap. And he heads out, finally leaves the office later than she would have wanted, and comes to a place where he jumps on a bus to meet up with her. And the bus, things go awry. He loses his wallet. He loses his phone. And he ends up getting off the bus with a woman who's going to a concert, like a Woodstock kind of concert. And she's going to help him try to find his wallet. So during the course of the film, this very straight guy smokes a little you-know-what, and has a little you-know-what with her. And it's just a really wonderful film of someone sort of realizing that life can be much more than sitting in an office selling soap, which is what he does.
It's like a 60s film brought into...
It's that British humor, that really typical British humor, that really dry, funny, like, what did they just say? Did they just say what I thought they said kind of film? So, so it's a really fun film, and we're happy to have it. And like I said, it was a big hit. Those awards, by the way, were at the British Independent Film Festival.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
it's some of the best of
You
Britain's
have a
independent
really
films.
strong second film lineup.
We do.
Yeah.
That's what I meant earlier when we first sat down. And we have a really strong program this year.
Yeah.
It's 20 features basically long, and it's about 20 shorts high as well. And that's what it is. So it's about a 40 film festival.
So typically, people, you pay one price and you get into both. And if you're smart, you get your tickets and the passes right now. And if you just tuned in, I'm talking to Barry Rivers, and Stella has graced us with her presence. It's so nice to see. I don't even know the last time I've seen Stella. Social media was the last time I saw Stella. But you can go to MauiFilmFestival.com and get the Rising Star Pass up until Thursday. And that gets you into the MAC for only $48. That'll be four films.
4 films, right?
And Celestial Cinema Pass is only $88. Now,
just to
those
say
will change.
Just to say for people, just change a little bit. I mean, they're not going to, they go up a few bucks. Frankly, we do that whole thing to reward people who commit to us to come to the festival and support the festival in advance of knowing anything about it.
Yeah,
so,
and they've gone very, very well.
What has?
Your tickets on the passes are massive sales, yeah.
Yeah,
most people do them.
I had something I was going to tell you, and don't ask me now what it was.
I won't.
Oh, I know what it was. I just want to let people know that all of these 4 film entry passes, both for the Celestial Cinema and for the Castle Theater at the MAC, they're all sort of used as you choose passes, by which I mean you save some money when you buy a pass as compared to a single ticket, just a few bucks, but you save a little bit of money. You also get a chance to, like you and Stella and I and our dog could go one night and burn it. Well, I'm just kidding, no dogs, unfortunately.
No dog?
And I'm a dog person,
not
you know
even
that,
your
but
dog?
we are both dog people.
Yeah.
But you and I could go twice. You
Yeah.
and Stella could go some other night. She could go 4 times in a row with girlfriends that all have.
Transferable.
So however you want to use it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you're up to the big night, which is famous for the Saturday Taste of Wailea, which is a huge event. And I always tell people, get your tickets for the Taste of Wailea
It's
early.
selling
And
really well.
Every year it sells out.
Yeah.
Every single year.
it's true.
I mean, people never. People call here. Like, the week of the event and say, I want to get these tickets. How do I get tickets to the Taste of Wailea? It's sold out.
It does. And, and we've really made an effort to keep it affordable. There are a lot of events now around the island that are $200, $250, $175, $195. We just really want to be there for people that want a special night and have the benefit of because for all of our tastes, we have 3 tastes. The Taste of Summer, which is the opening night. I can talk about these a bit more. The Taste of Chocolate on Friday night. That's the 4 Seasons. The first party is at the Grand Wailea. And the Taste of Wailea is at the Wailea Golf Academy location above the driving range. But for each of those 3 tastes, when you buy a single ticket to the taste, you get to go to the films on that night at the Celestial Cinema. So,
Right.
If you're going to pay $20 or whatever it is, to go to that night of festivities, we have a halal one night, we have music, we have celebrities being honored and so forth. So in effect, the ticket comes down to $20 less than you're paying, which now is $140
right.
and goes to $150. So it'll be affordable, pretty much all the way through. The price jumps for at the door sales. So if you're going to go, make sure you make it happen for yourself sometime if there are tickets available, which we do sell them out. So
You do, absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's that wonderful Taste of Wailea, that beautiful setting and all the music and the great food. And then you roll down the hill and you go to the Saturday night show. The opening show is what?
It's called Back to Burgundy. It's a French film.
Oh, good.
From the director of a film called L'Auberge Espagnole that we showed years ago at the MAC. He likes these films with different people and lots going on. So this is a film about a vineyard where the family now has to choose to run it or not run it after the patriarch passes.
Ah.
And it's set in Burgundy in France. It's a beautiful story. It's in French, English subtitles. It won't matter if you don't want to read subtitles because the people in it are gorgeous and the film is gorgeous. But it's a wonderful film. We just decided it was a good fit right after the Taste of Wailea. There's a great poster for the film people will see on the website that has three people lined up side by side. It's like brother and sister, 2 brothers and a sister, and they're sort of having a little bit of wine. But it's a great film. So that's the 8 o'clock film. And then the 10 o'clock film is a film called... It's called... What the hell is it called? I can't remember.
God.
She's got her phone. She can look on the
Yeah,
phone
yeah,
and back him up. Stella, that's why Stella's here.
I'm trying to remember. Just see, that doesn't happen very often. Huh?
Speak out loud,
Oh, here
Stella.
it is right here.
Speak out loud.
Yeah, she hardly ever says anything at home that I can understand. She's such a mouse. Don't I wish? Let's see here. It's called Off the Menu.
Oh,
which is another film
okay.
set in New Mexico. It's about a fellow who inherited with his sister a company of Mexican that made Mexican food. That was their deal.
Uh-huh.
And she says, it ain't happening. We got to find some new taste to light up this company again. And she sends him out to Santa Fe area to sort of look for something special, the best food he can find in New Mexico kind of thing. And he goes there sort of incognito. No one knows who he is or why he's there. And he falls in love with a woman that has the best Mexican food in all the state. People are coming there from all over the country. Foodies, are. So, they have a relationship. It's wonderful. It's a romantic, kind of dramedy, but probably a little bit more comedy. But it's a smart, wonderful, beautiful-looking film. I mean, the leads are great. The woman is stunning, whose name I forget. She's relatively new. I should remember it, but I can't read it in these glasses. They're the wrong ones.
Oh, that's,
and I never got my contacts in.
Film Festival,
Yeah. So that's a really wonderful film. It's got a great poster.
Those sound like two perfect films for after the
Yeah.
festival.
Yeah, we feel pretty good about that. And then on Sunday, we're sort of back in the ocean, at least in part. The first film is a wonderful film. You would love this film. I mean, anyone who's into spirituality or into the ocean, especially those who are women, but any guy that's not an idiot, would dig this film as well. I've been telling people I know that have daughters that this would be a great Father's Day present to give yourself, which is to take your daughters to this film. And what it's about is it's 9 women, sort of a 13-year-old phenom, Coco Ho, who's in her 20s now. She's the granddaughter of Michael Ho, and I think Darren Ho was her dad. So it's sort of surfing royalty in Hawaii.
Her name is Coco Ho?
Coco Ho. Yeah, good luck.
That's a great name.
Yeah. And then the other one, there are 2 women, big wave surfers. It's
She is the Ocean.
No, I know the name of the film. She is the Ocean. No, it's not that. It's the 2 of the biggest women wave riders in the country, in the world really, are in the film. One of them is named Andrea Moeller, and the other one is Keala Kennelly. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. So they're 2 of the big wave surfers. So the point I'm making is that so those are the surfers, but then there's Sylvia Earle, Dr. Sylvia Earle, who's an oceanographer. Anyone that's seen any National Geographic film for the last 30 years about the ocean, she's sort of their queen of the sea. She's a wonderful woman, and really supports young girls being educated in all kinds of ways, but certainly about the environment. And then there are 2 other women. There's a high diver, a woman who just jumps off of these crazy diving boards, from like 80 feet above the water. And there's a woman who's a free diver.
So it's just all these different women.
So it's all these women and how the ocean sort of infuses their love of life and their orientation towards the world.
Interesting.
And it's a beautiful film. It's got great music too. The musician in you would love this film. So that's a trailer again. We'll have it on the site tomorrow. You can take a peek at that. She is the Ocean. And then the last film at Celestial Cinema, which I flipped out on when I saw, it just knocked me out. It's called The Serengeti Rules. It's from a company that is part of they've done a lot of films over the years. They won Academy Awards. This one is about a true story. It's a documentary about a group of young scientists who in the 1960s were funded to travel around the world for 40 years to try and figure out what it was that kept species healthy, or what was the way that ecosystems could be kept healthiest. And it sort of boiled down to that their so-called keystone species are healthy and are living like vibrant, healthy lives. So they did this research everywhere from the Arctic Sea to the Serengeti in Africa to parts of the Pacific, and they really just study this stuff. People who are not necessarily deep-sea creature scientists, but were studying flowers, took on the challenge of expanding their awareness and their knowledge base. And so it's this really
fascinating
it's
concept.
A great,
it makes
great
kind
film.
Of sense.
I tell you, this is one of the most beautiful documentaries I've ever seen. When I saw this thing just in its trailer form before they sent it to me to look at, I was like, holy, you know what? We got to get this movie.
Yeah.
It was incredible. It is incredible.
I love the idea of that one, and I don't think anyone's really covered that subject that I've seen before.
And that's very much like a PG kind of a film. If people are sensitive to certain animals eating other animals, maybe that's not for them, but most anyone would love this film, as is the first film. This is the surf night for people who are concerned about sort of going for the rough ride that the Andy Irons film is in ways. If you have young kids, this is probably, much as I'd love to have you there as a parent or an adult, it's not really the film to bring your kids to. That's not one of the films that we made available to kids 10 and under. I think it's 12 and under for free. You can go to the site and see. I think that's the correct age. Father's Day Sunday, and then also the opening night is also a very user-friendly, sort of family-friendly film.
It.
Yeah. So that's that.
We are on to, in the next 15 minutes, nope, less than 15 minutes.
Okay.
13 minutes, we're going to cover the MAC.
Okay, we can do that. So the MAC is a 3-day event this year. It was a 2-day event last year. The films are all at 3, 5, and 7:30, so it makes it really easy for people to know when they are. And the first film at the MAC on Friday is a film called Keepers of the Light. This is,
Oh, I like that title.
if you love cinema, if
Yeah.
you are an aficionado, this is the film for you. It's a documentary that profiles, I think it's 11 or 12 of the best known cinematographers in the world.
Lumiere brothers?
Well, not some more like contemporary directors of photography,
Oh,
like
okay.
Vittorio Storaro, who did so many movies. What's his name? Like the guys who've done all Coppola's movies, all Scorsese's
really?
movies.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, all Bernardo Bertolucci's
the kind of
movies.
people behind that.
The guys that really make it look like it looks. Roger Deakins, who's done a lot of Spielberg movies.
And that's on Friday night?
That's on Friday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
And it's a beautiful film. I mean, you just can like sink into your chair in like an hour and a half or so. I think it's about an hour and a half long. You walk away feeling like you're levitated. It's beautiful. I mean, just to see these iconic scenes again, described by the people who shot them, and the circumstance and synchronicity and happenstance and mistakes even that happened that caused these things to look as spectacular as they do, without anyone trying to make it that. It just like had a mind of its own, life of its own.
Yeah.
So it's just a great film.
Like that.
And if you've ever made films at all, you know when you're out there, the best
Yeah.
stuff you get doesn't
Things
come,
happen,
doesn't
yeah.
come through you. It's just,
Magic happens
yeah,
when you're in
exactly.
there.
I think that's why they call it that, the Keepers of Magic, or Keepers
Like
of the
it,
Magic, yeah.
Oh, I
So-
thought it was Keepers of the Light.
Keepers of the Magic.
Oh, the magic.
Yeah.
Now, I guess magic, and you said light.
Like,
so there you go.
well, it's magic light. It's like, you work with the magic of light at certain times of
Yeah,
day,
yeah,
so that's
yeah,
kind of
it's a
what it is,
magic hour,
right?
Yeah, right.
So then following that at 5 o'clock is Joaquin Phoenix and
He's back.
He's back, and a totally unrecognizable Jonah Hill is back. I watched the trailer before I got the film sent to me by the studio. Probably watched the trailer about 6 or 7 times. I saw Jonah Hill's name in there. I kept saying to Stella, who the hell is Jonah Hill in this movie? He's unrecognizable.
Wow.
He's quite an actor, really. So, but Joaquin Phoenix plays a role based upon a true story of an alcoholic cartoonist living in Portland who had an accident one night after he went out and drank too much, and he just started to party with a guy he didn't really know very well. The guy hit a tree. The guy was fine, and the artist became a paraplegic. But he kept cartooning, and his alcoholism didn't exactly get better in a hurry. But eventually he pulled out of it, and he's living this life. He's living a wonderful life now in Portland, and he's sober, and it's a really transformative story.
I always thought Joaquin Phoenix was a very talented artist, but he certainly had his, challenges, ups and downs mentally. He went through a lot. So it'll be interesting seeing him.
I think he could relate to the role.
Yeah.
He plays it pretty on point.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a really great film. It's got Rooney Mara and Jack Black
Oh, really?
and Jonah Hill, and then Joaquin Phoenix is the lead, and it's directed by Good Will Hunting, Gus Van Sant.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So it's got a great pedigree.
Yeah, it does.
So that's the 5 o'clock film on Friday night. On 7:30, we're showing a film called Puzzle. That's Mark Turtletaub's film. Mark Turtletaub is actually a good friend of mine, but he's also someone who's lived on Maui. He produced Little Miss Sunshine, won an Academy Award for that.
Right.
And now he's doing directed a film called Puzzle, and it's based on sort of a story of a woman who's just living a life full of ennui and not joy and happiness. And she just is, I think, given a puzzle. I'm trying to remember the story. I've watched so many movies now. She's either given a puzzle or she chooses to buy a puzzle, like one of these really complicated ones.
Yeah.
And she just whips through it and realizes she has a real skill for it. So she starts to take on being someone who competes in puzzling competitions.
She's a puzzler.
And she meets someone who she sort of falls in love with during the course of the film, who's the fella who played in Life of Pi. He was the adult in Life of Pi.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good film.
Afnan, can't remember his last name now. Anyway, but it's a wonderful film, and Mark's directing for only his second effort is like glowing. So it's a really smart, beautiful, deep
Will he be there?
film. He wanted to be. They have him going, or they mean the distributor, Sony Classics, has him going to so many festivals
it's a
that
good
he couldn't
split.
come all the way out here to then go all the way back to Europe.
Yeah.
It was a little too much. So unfortunately he won't be. But he sends his love. He told me to tell everyone that at the screening, so I'll tell you that now.
Okay.
And then the next day, which is Saturday, we show a film called The Bookshop. So this is Patricia Clarkson, or as I like to say, Maui Film Festival honoree Patricia Clarkson.
Yeah, I like her.
Yeah, I'm allowed to. It's one of the people I can have an affair with. One of the very few.
You have a list, right?
Yeah.
Is it on the
Yeah.
refrigerator?
Yeah, it's on the list. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There's a couple of people on the list, but she's one of them.
Okay.
Anyway, but she
And
started.
what's the return favor that Stella
She
gets?
can. I don't know. Oh, I think she's kind of used to be a Johnny Depp person. Who are you now?
Okay.
Who do you like?
Who would be your return favor?
Oh, God, I'm not going to say on air.
Why not? You're allowed to say it's not real. It's a
Manifest,
fantasy.
baby, manifest.
Yeah, manifest, baby.
Anyway, so
Think
I mean, it's a
about it.
48-year marriage. People,
Yeah.
come on, give us a break. We at least have this to dream about at night. Anyway,
This
so
is the refrigerator milk.
exactly.
Yeah.
But so it stars
She's
her.
thinking now. Look
Yeah.
at her eyes. Look at
No, she knows. I just can't remember who the hell it is. But I know it was Joe Manganiello there for a while from the dancer film, whatever the hell it was called. I never saw it. Anyway, it stars also Bill Nye, who's great in everything he does. You know, he's the rock musician in the Christmas film.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Whose name I can't remember. It's ridiculous. I've looked at almost 1,000 damn movies. I really cannot. I barely can remember the names of the films in the festival at this point. It'll clear, but right now it's very muddy. And then it also stars Emily Mortimer, who's been in a lot of indie films. She's wonderful. You know her.
I do, yeah.
She co-starred with Jeff Daniels in Newsroom, the Aaron Sorkin
Very
thing on
good.
HBO.
I like
Yeah,
that.
she's great.
Yeah.
So that's a story about a woman whose husband dies in a small town in England in the 50s, and to try and save her home, she creates a library in her home.
Oh,
There's no
nice.
library in town, and Patricia Clarkson is put off by that because she wanted to be the sort of, the culture queen of this little town. So that's the story of that film. And then
That's good.
and then that night, all you 18-mile marker people, this one's for you. We have a film called Calling All Earthlings. It's a documentary that plays like science fiction. It's based on the true story of a fellow who was one of Howard Hughes' main sort of architects and designers, who was according to him, visited by aliens who told him how to build this machine called the Integratron that allowed you to, it's like an age reversal machine.
I love it.
Yeah, so and it's still
love
there
it.
today, and people still go there. There's a lot of stuff
There
with
seriously
yeah,
is
I'm not
an
kidding.
Integratron?
Yeah, there are a lot of people that use the bowls, the sound bowls. You just sort of go around and make that. Anyway, so it's a whole thing, and you have to see it if you're at all intrigued by this stuff. I just read
This
today.
is a documentary.
Doesn't play like one, but yeah, it is. I just saw it on Huffington Post this morning. That's my toothbrush news, I call it. While I brush my teeth, I
Yeah.
watch that. And there was a story that just released about some Navy flyer or was he a flyer? Yeah, he was a Navy flyer who saw some UFO go down into the sea in a place where there's some crazy stuff. Go to Huffington Post and just look for UFOs today. You'll see the story.
All right.
So who the hell knows? What
Well,
do
no,
know?
I believe in aliens. I mean, I do. I have nothing. I mean, I think you're crazy if you don't believe, but it's up to you. You have your own choice.
I
but,
just don't know if they'd waste their time.
But I don't
here,
know
not
about
right
this
now.
Integratron thing.
Well, I guess you're going to have to.
But it's not here on Maui.
No, it's in the desert.
In the desert,
Yeah,
where?
it's Joshua Tree.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Exactly.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay, so then just
You have to be on drugs to understand.
Well, you have to have been on drugs.
You've been
None
on
of us do drugs anymore, Stevie.
Right,
Come
that's
on
true.
now.
No, that's true.
Well, maybe a little Advil now and again. But that's pretty much it. So 1 o'clock on Sunday, Father's Day Sunday. Is that the time? Is it 59 minutes in?
Yeah. Well, no, we're 46 minutes.
Okay,
in.
so good. I can talk
we
about
have
some more
5
stuff.
minutes. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll wrap it up. So anyway, a film called Zoo, based on a true story in Belfast, Ireland in the 1940s when they were being bombed by Hitler's troops. They wanted to save the animals in the zoo. So I'll just leave it at that. This is a PG-rated film.
I like that.
It's a really nice film for dads to bring their daughters to.
Yeah.
So I'll just leave it at that. The information again
That's the
on
3
the
o'clock
website.
film on
That's
Sunday.
the 1
Okay.
o'clock. That's the one
Well,
day
that's
there's
a
a
1
1 o'clock
o'clock.
matinee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then with the weather the way it's been, 1 o'clock matinee might not be
Right.
the best thing to do on a Sunday.
Well, you
So
never know.
We'll see.
Yeah.
And then we have I've hardly talked about it, but we have a fantastic shorts program at the Castle Theater, about 10 or 12 shorts from all over the world that are just one's better than the next. We're sort of known among filmmakers as having a really strong shorts program.
Yes, you are.
So we've got one again this year.
Did you just burp on
No,
here?
I
Yeah.
didn't. I don't know what you heard. Cindy, just be
the
happy
aliens-
that just be happy that
aliens
the
leaving and
sounds
it's
that
just
I'm
like-
making now are not this. Okay. Because believe me, in 3 seconds I could conk out right now if I wanted
At
to.
3 o'clock we have.
I've never fallen asleep more often with the remote in my hands than this year. It's a really interesting. No, I'm just
Seriously,
kidding.
no.
It's a film called Dirt Rich. This is an important film.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it a documentary?
It's a documentary about the importance of healthy soil to the remediation
I
of
like
the
that
climate
title.
control crisis. The soil, where it made healthy around the world, could absorb fully half of the gases that escape every year to sort of keep
Wow.
driving climate change,
Interesting.
which is
point.
real, I must
Yep,
say.
it is real.
Yeah. So unfortunately, it's real.
Yes, it
okay.
is, yeah.
So it's a really smart film. A lot of it's shot in Hawaii.
Really?
Yeah, and it's a lot of people here are interested in this stuff and working on this themselves.
Wow.
Hopefully they don't run out of time to make a
Huge
difference.
subject, yeah.
But it's a really big subject. It's called Dirt Rich, and it's Yeah. So
I
anyway,
like
if you're
that.
interested, if you farm, if you have a garden, if you
Oh,
care
yeah.
about your kids breathing oxygen, I mean, it's an important film. And then the last film at the Castle Theater on closing night, which is Sunday, is a film from Susan Kucera. She's a Maui resident and filmmaker who produced a film that Jeff Bridges produced the film she directed. He also co-wrote it and narrates it. And it's really like one of the smartest. It sort of takes the whole What the Bleep, The Secret, some of those kind of films to like a whole other level
Yay.
of looking.
Thank you.
Really. So they've
time
found
for
the
that.
sweet spot that has not yet been serviced by people with good intentions to really crack people's coconuts open,
Yay.
to really let them know what the hell needs to be addressed right now.
What time is that?
That's at 7:30. I gave it the
7:30.
catbird slot, because I want
Okay.
a lot of people
That's
to be
gonna
able to
be
make
popular,
it.
yeah.
I hope so. I think so.
Yeah.
So that's all of that. We also have these food and wine events, which you know about. The Taste of Wailea, which is on Saturday, the Taste of Chocolate on Friday, and the Taste of Summer at the Grand Wailea on Wednesday. We have, for people who buy a certain level of pass, we have a pass called the Cosmos Pass. What it does is let you go to all three of our tastes, as well as
Those are. I looked at all the passes.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, as well as the Filmmakers Brunch, which is the only way you can get into that unless you buy a higher. You can't buy a single ticket
That's
to
an
that.
interesting brunch. You invited me only one time to that.
Oh, you can come this
It
year.
was interesting. It was very interesting gathering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all the
people just hang out.
filmmakers who are here
Yes.
are there.
And then, of course, on that Saturday, you have the filmmaker panels, which I just love.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
some great ones too. Were you there in the night that we had? What's his name? Luis Arroyos years ago.
No.
Oh God. Anyway, so that's all happening, and it's the usual suspects.
Mention the kiosk again.
I mentioned the kiosk.
Yeah, there are
again.
we have 2 kiosks opening. Not tomorrow. I think I said tomorrow earlier. That was my mistake.
It's
June
on Friday.
It's on June 1st.
Yeah. That's Friday. You
And
said
it's
that
at the
right.
shops at Wailea, and it's at the at Whole Foods. I want to thank both those folks for allowing us to sort of be there. We really appreciate their support. And so that's
All
what
the
we're doing.
flyers.
All the posters and flyers, 50,000 of them are going out
Can I
Friday,
have
Saturday, and
Can I
Sunday.
have a bunch of those, please?
Yeah, we just don't have them yet.
Yeah,
They just went to the printer this morning.
Okay.
So they'll be all over the island. The posters are going up. The stories are happening.
I
the Maui
always
News
keep
and
some
the Maui
in my
Time.
purse. We can add that to the bottom of your purse. How many do you keep in your purse, Stella? How many? About 5 in
She
the
has
bottom
a, she
of
has a
your
little
purse?
red wagon she carries around.
I know that one. I know that well. Well, we got it all in. It's still the minute to spare, and it's really always a treat to see you. I know how crazy busy you both are. And so it's really great, and I really wouldn't have even come in today, except
Oh, you're a
want
doll.
to be here.
I'm sorry you're not feeling well.
I'll be all better soon, and just don't listen to the doctors. That's all. I'll be all fine if I don't listen to a thing they say. I'll be just great.
I want to quickly thank all of our sponsors, especially the
Yes.
HTA, the County of Maui's film office and OED offices. All the resorts in Wailea are all participants in this. Lots of local sponsors, Maui no Oi, Pau Vodka. I mean, there's just a bunch of them. They're all on the website, or will be. The sponsor stuff is being updated right now.
And I'll tell you, for those people as well, I mean,
And
this
the
is
local
the
one.
big thing. You can still you have time for adding a couple more, Stella. You got to say them yourself though. Say them out loud because you can read it.
Yeah, no, local sponsors like Home Remedies and you folks and Akaku,
Hawaii Public Radio,
Maui
Yep.
Now,
Maui Time, Maui
yeah,
News.
Maui News.
It's for us. It's
Office Max.
super big event, and it's one of the highlights of the year. And truthfully, we all really look forward to it.
Oh,
So-
Akina. I want to thank Akina Tours.
Oh, Akina.
Yeah, just so people
For
know,
buses.
free parking and free shuttles. And let me tell you, the shuttles are not cheap. We get a great deal from them, but still, it's a lot of shuttles.
That's a nice
And we
gift.
really, I hope people understand that that's something that we just throw into the package. So
well,
thanks.
hey, thank you, Barry. Thank you, Stella. Great seeing you. Go to
Yeah, thank you.
MauiFilmFestival.com. Check out the trailers. Aloha.